Tomorrow, the update is coming tomorrow. It's less than a day away.
ValleyFlyin.
Hey, what's up all you Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel, and oh, this is gonna be a busy weekend. Yes, we got the update dropping tomorrow, and oh, you know who is being released. I am unlocking her ASAP, and we also have potentially the biggest movie ever opening tomorrow. I'm so excited to see Avengers Endgame. We also have the NFL Draft. If you're an NFL fan like I am, you're gonna be watching that draft, as well as Saturday, UFC Fight Night, and then Sunday, Game of Thrones, huge battle. Biggest battle in the Game of Thrones history. This should be a good one. This is gonna be a busy weekend for me. So today, what I decided to do, let's talk about something nice and relaxing. Yes, Blitz, because that is the most relaxing game mode in all of Marvel Strike Force. So thought no better time to talk about it, right? Yes. Okay, in all seriousness, guys, Blitz, very important game mode for unlocking new characters. The past 3 characters released have been through Blitz: Killmonger, M'Baku, and if you don't have M'Baku, I pit in a food that does not have M'Baku, and Okoye. Yes, so very important to do well on Blitz if you want to unlock some of these new characters. I know it's a time sink. I know a lot of people don't like it. It actually happens to be one of my favorite game modes. So in this video, I'm giving my biggest tips on how you can improve your Blitz score. This is mainly aimed at newer intermediate players. And then I'm going to go through my entire roster. You can see all of my save teams. And this part is going to be aimed more for the intermediate and advanced Blitz players. So let's go have some fun. Oh, but before we get into these Blitz tips, have I told you how comfortable my shirt is? This is such a nice, comfortable shirt. You can get one just like it, as well as other Valley merch on the TeePublic site. The link is in the description. There's also a link for Patreon if you want to support the channel, as well as a link for my emulator of choice, BlueStacks, my preferred way to play Marvel Strike Force on my PC. All right, so Blitz tips, and these are mainly aimed at newer and intermediate players. All right, so tip number 1, find and build a team that you could win with at tier 8 in Blitz. Now, if you're brand new or relatively new, you probably want to go after defenders first. Very easily farmable, have some great synergy, and even at the end game level, they're still one of the top teams out there. So why do you want to get to tier 8? Well, that is where you're going to score the most points. You're going to get a 4 times tier bonus, plus because you're at a higher tier, you're facing harder and harder enemies, so that, yeah, you're scoring a lot of points once you get to tier 8. So get a team that could win at tier 8. All right, so tip number 2, and this is mainly for newer players: focus on these milestone rewards before you focus on these ranking rewards. I know it sounds pretty simple, but I know a lot of people are going for these ranking rewards when they're not even able to hit these milestones very easily. So focus on these, get these milestone rewards. You're getting gold, you're getting Blitz credits, you're getting some Blitz orbs, and in 2 out of the 4 Blitzes of the week, you're getting some character shards, most likely, sometimes not. But you're getting a lot of stuff here. You're also getting some raid health as well. So a lot of good stuff with these milestone rewards. Focus on them first, and then start to shift your focus on getting to a higher rank. Now, tip number 3, this is another beginner tip: make effective use of your medical supply run challenges. Yes, you're gonna get Blitz charges for this, so you could do more and more Blitzes. Now, for me, my reset happens at 7 o'clock my time for Blitz, and then my game resets at 1 o'clock. So in an ideal world, I can potentially get 3 rotations in before that resets happen. I don't think it's ever happened though. So ideally, what I would want to happen: 7 o'clock rolls around, I go through a full rotation of Blitz. Now, this should be a quicker rotation because these are some easier teams and I could get to auto a lot quicker. So in a best case scenario, maybe half an hour going through my full rotation. Next 2 hours, that is 9:30. I'm hopefully going through another rotation at this point, and hopefully I'm using less teams and I'm just going through a rotation, not trying to double up and use any energy. And hopefully that full run takes half an hour, which is at 10 o'clock. So at midnight, I get another rotation, and this is where I spend all of my Blitz charges on my higher ranked teams because they are already at a higher tier and they can score more. All right, and that is what should happen in an ideal situation, but for me, it doesn't always happen. Normally what ends up happening is I go through a full run and then I fall asleep. So yeah, my score not very good at the end of that first run, and I end up missing these blitz charges and these raid health packs. Oh, that is very bad. Sets me back sometimes. And then I end up playing catch up by the next morning. So what I should do and what I recommend you doing if you have a close time to that reset or think you might fall asleep, go through your full run, use all your blitz charges on that first run. Yeah, you're not maximizing your score, but it's better than falling asleep like I do. Yeah, don't do that. Not good. And then on your subsequent runs, you're battling at a higher tier, potentially tier 8 if you've done everything right, and you're just scoring points that way, and you're not in risk of missing out on all of your supplies. All right, so these next 2 tips are more for intermediate players. It's gonna require a little bit of experimentation on your part to see what works best for your roster. It took me a little while to figure it out for my roster as well, but the first is to make as many tier 8 blitz teams as you can with your roster. So if you're clearing those rewards and focusing on those ranking rewards, I'm assuming you have about 4 or 5 good tier 8 blitz teams. You want to build up as many as you can. It's not always best to build the best possible team, because you want as many teams as possible. I'm gonna show you my teams in just a sec. My last tip seems pretty obvious, but it is picking the right opponents. I see a lot of people still going into these battles against teams that they cannot win with the team that they're using. And like I said, it's gonna require a little bit of experimentation to see which teams you can beat, which teams you can't beat. The teams I like to avoid, obviously, are defenders, and you see them in a lot of these matchmaking opportunities. I see Shield sometimes, I see Brotherhood sometimes, and I see Guardians quite a bit as well. I tend to avoid these teams unless I have a good counter to these teams. A lot of my blitz teams, they don't have hard counters to any of these teams, so I just end up avoiding them. All right, so here are all of my save squads, and I use all of these teams in Blitz. Some of them I use up to a certain point, some of them I use all the way at 8.3. A lot of these teams are very good at 8.3, but need certain matchups to win. Now, some of these are pretty obvious, like the Shield team and Defenders. Others are my preferred raid team, and other teams I've just kind of thrown together. Some of them I'm seeing on some other content creators. Oz10, I've seen a couple of these teams on his blog, so shout out to there. But these are who I am using in Blitz. Now, as you can see in my roster, the top team here is only 217,000 power, which is very low for someone that's been playing as long as I have. So there's always that debate. Should you go wide with your roster, or should you go real top heavy with that roster? I've always went wide with my roster because Blitz was such a big thing for a while that I wanted to do that, and I've kind of shifted away, but I'm kind of playing catch up at this point because there's so many other new teams that I want to build, and it's hard to focus on just one. Like right now, Shield, I probably should be focused on them. Brotherhood, I probably should focus on them a little more. But right now, I am focused on Spider-Verse because I want to unlock. You know, I want to unlock. She is coming tomorrow. I'm excited. All right, so Shield is my top team, and if I would do this over again, I would probably go top heavy with the roster because that's gonna not just benefit you in Blitz. It will benefit you in Blitz because you're scoring higher points, but it will also benefit you in the other game modes, especially the raids and especially in Arena. And you get some very, very good rewards for Arena and very good rewards for the raids. So top heavy is my answer right now. So as you can see, the top team right here is Shield. Pretty obvious team. The only real question right now, should you put in Trooper? Should you put in Operative? I put in Trooper in most cases, especially for Blitz, because he has a little higher collection power, and that means that he's going to score a little bit more points in Blitz. Defenders, another pretty obvious team. You could go Miss Marvel here. You could go Spider-Man here if you don't have that big of a roster. Night Nurse works okay. Probably wouldn't recommend her in Blitz too much, but could put a lot of people in this 5th spot. I like Punisher because he has some natural synergy with that team, so that is who I put in there. Plus, he has the higher collection power of all the other options as well, except for Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's in a different team. This is my raid team right here. This is a very, very solid team. They work very well in Blitz, and I use a hybrid of this hybrid team in the Alliance Wars. Star-Lord, very strong, giving energy to Rocket. Thanos gives energy to the Rocket. Minerva gives that survivability, and Groot clears the dispels, gives people defense up, and a death proof's a very, very strong team, tough to get around, and this is probably another auto clear team if it has the right matchup. This is my villains team, not a very great team. As you can see, the power levels are all over the place. Low is Hand Sentry at 31k, high is Korath at 46k, so Not the ideal team for Blitz, but I still win at tier 8.3 with them. Not all the time because I can't always find the good matchups. A lot of time I'm just seeing defenders, and this team cannot beat a defenders team that is 50, 60,000 power higher than them. But they can beat unsynergized teams, and they work very well at tier 8.1. Brotherhood. Fully auto, pretty much fully auto, unless you're going up against like a defenders with a Jessica Jones that can clear dispels, clear the negative effects, and you could, or you're going up with a Groot who could also clear negative effects. If I'm not going up against one of those teams, I could fully auto the battle right in the beginning, and it is awesome. I love that. Saves me time in Blitz. All right, here is my Brawlers team. And a little bit of a different team, but I think the keys to this Brawlers team, Miss Marvel, Gamora, and Black Panther because of all the extra turns, and obviously Deadpool's a very good character, and Miss Marvel is arguably one of the better characters in the game, so this is a very good team. It's pulling pieces from a lot of different teams, so pulling pieces from a Guardians team, pulling pieces from a Wakanda team. You could make the argument this is a military team or an Avengers team for Captain Marvel, so few different things, and then Deadpool could fit into a bunch of different teams as well. This team works very well. 8.3, again, you need the right matchup because this team doesn't really have anybody that can dispel very well, so they need to go against the right team. Drax is a hard counter to this team. All right, and here is my Avengers team. They work very well together, and you could put Captain Marvel in this team as well instead of Vision, but I use Vision because I don't really have a spot for him if I take him out. But this team, good synergy, Vision, not Captain America, Iron Man, and War Machine for their tech and that defense up. Black Widow obviously synergizes with everybody on her special, clears all those dispels, and Captain America handing out ability energy, very solid team. This is a team that I got the idea for on Oz10's blog. Just a very dispel, mysticky type team. There's a lot of different roles in this team, and this is a team that you cannot auto because this is based on debuffs. So when there are so many options with the debuffs, you need to play this. You can't just auto this team, but it works very well. Wins at tier 8.3, not all the time. I do need to find the right matchups, but against weaker teams, you going up against tier 8.1, this team works very well. Here is my Spider-Verse team. Again, not very synergized very well. I got Spider-Man here up at 40k, and then the low is Carnage down at 26k, so not the best way to build a Blitz team, but this team does do well at certain tiers. 8.1 they do well. 8.3 not as much, and I think it's because the power levels are so different, and some of these weaker guys just don't do as much damage. But I think this team would work very well. They just are very squishy, so you got to be careful about which team you go up against. This is the standard Kree team right here. Some people like Oracle. I think Oracle is one of the worst characters in the game. Some people like to put Minerva in here, but again, I would be taking Minerva off of a different team that works very well. This team works decent together. It's only 138k, so I'm not getting the tougher enemies, but they do very well in the Blitz as well, and they do well in other game modes as well. All right, this is another team that I got the idea for on Oz10's blog. Hawkeye, Elektra, we got a combo of Ant-Man and Wasp, and then Merc Lieutenant giving them offense up and speed up. This team works very well, not super reliable at tier 8.3. They just don't have the damage. At least this combo does not have the damage. Got some not that great team building here with Hawkeye up at 35k and then Elektra down at 24k, so not the best. And then my last team that I win with is this kind of a Wakanda team. Now, when we do get our next legendary character, you know who she is. Oh yeah, she is replacing Winter Soldier in this team and just running this team. And maybe one day when I get these guys up powered correctly, Black Panther will come in and fill this spot for Merc Riot Guard as well. And then these other two teams right here, this is just trash characters that I use on some of the lower tiers. This is another team that just, I don't have a place for these guys. I use these guys at lower tiers as well. Just very unsynergized, both of these teams. And then this last one is a hand team, some decent synergy, but these guys just don't have that protection. And again, power levels are all over the place, so not the best at 8.3, but tier 6 or so, up to tier 6, this team does work very well. And that is all my save squads. I hope this gives you some ideas for changing up your Blitz teams. I'm probably changing up my Blitz teams very soon. I like to change them every month or so just to make Blitz a little more interesting for me, because if you're using the same Blitz teams all the time, that would be a little boring, and that is my final tip, guys. Switch up your Blitz teams every so often just to make the mode a little more interesting for you. I particularly like it. I know there's a lot of people that don't. It does require a lot of time, and if I'm finding these matchups that I want right away, it is very fun. But if I'm having to go through a bunch of teams, lose on purpose, and I'm just finding defenders after defenders with some guardians sprinkled in there, not very fun. So I do have that love-hate relationship with Blitz. Let me know what you guys think. Are there some cool team combinations that I am sleeping on that I should really try out? Again, a lot of these team combinations are going to be based on where you have these guys powered, because you kind of want them around the same power when building a Blitz team. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you did like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, smash on that like button, join the notification squad, and share this with your friends. It does help out the channel a lot. Hulk fist bump. I'll see you next time. ValleyFlyin out.